ready to start our class today. It's going to be a rehab. So I'm taking a couple of classes and combining them into one. And so just going to go ahead and get started. So you'll need your gorgeous ball. And we're going to start with a psoas release. The reason being is because all of these tight hip flexor muscles and deep muscles create so much tension that the knee takes the brunt of that tension, the knee joint. So I'm going to just stick this left leg out to the side like a frog leg, and then I'm just going to settle in on the psoas area, hip flexors, top of the quads. Kind of get comfortable and put as much weight into it as feels comfortable, and start to breathe. So this breath pattern, keep laying down, this breath pattern is really important because what you want to do is you want to inhale and feel the tension against the ball. And then when you exhale, just let the ball kind of dive into you as you release all the air. Inhaling, and you can put that leg wherever is comfortable. Inhale and kind of pause at the top of that inhale, and then exhale and feel things start to stretch. And the more you can release the tension from your upper body, the better. Taking big inhales, big belly breaths, and then holding at the top and then releasing. So I have this ball just off to the side, a little bit in front of the hip. We'll take another couple of breaths there. You can shift around on that too. And the last breath on this side. Hold at the top and exhale. Completely release and feel things deep inside moving. It's very interesting. All right, let's roll to the other side. So I'm just going to shift that off center a little bit. Some people like it right in the center, so that's up to you. And then we're going to start breathing into that side now. So release all the muscles you can, except the footprint there, and take a nice inhale. Feel the belly press against the ball, hold it at the top, and then exhale and feel the ball kind of melt into you. Inhaling deeply, holding at the top, exhaling. After a few more rounds of this, you'll start to feel things, subtle shifts in there. This is a famous area for tightness because we sit in a chair and our body kind of forms itself to the shape of a chair unless we move and stretch and open up that area. If it doesn't feel comfortable in any way, just shift around until you find a new comfort level. And then we're going to take another couple of inhales, pushing into the ball with our breath, and then letting the ball dive into us on the exhale. Last one, make it count. And exhale. Good deal. All right, We're gonna move ourselves off of that and bring ourselves onto our back. Okay, so on our back, we're just gonna draw the knees into the chest. I'm gonna get my microphone moved over here. And draw the knees in and just give yourself a nice little hug. That feels good after that work, that deep psoas work. Get nice and relaxed. Circles, waves, whichever feels good. Coming around both directions. And then plant the feet on the outside edges of the mat. Get comfortable. And then start moving a little deeper inside that hip joint, letting the knees windshield wiper back and forth. Just relaxing. Reaching slower sometimes is the better. So reaching that inside knee in and reaching it to the ground. And back and forth. And then go ahead and back to center. We're going to do happy baby, so our arms start in between our knees. Now we bring our feet to our hands and grab the outside edges of on the pinky toe side. And then again, you're just going to wave. And this is just really a great exploratory pose. You can straighten and bend your legs depending on that, the flexibility. You can also hold on the outside of the shin like this if the feet are a little far away when you straighten them. Either way, you can bring them up, you can bring them out. You can do some circles. Feel the circles deeper in the hip joint. Bring them together in cobbler. Good. And then land them so you can feel the back of your heels in bridge. Okay. And then we're just going to point our toes out a little bit and maybe walk heel toe out so they're a little bit wider than the hips. And then we're going to just lift up for bridge pose, lifting the hips and feeling which muscles are working. We want to get all the way around the hips, so we're going to do a couple different bridges. When you come down, make sure you can feel the back of the heels. I don't know if we checked in there. Inhale it back up. Arms overhead, getting some motion in the shoulder joints, and then exhaling down. And again, inhaling. Squeeze the glutes on the way up, and when you get to the top, give them an extra loving squeeze, and then come down. And then go ahead and grab your block. Sorry, you will need a block for this. No white kind of blocks always available. Okay, now we're going to walk our feet in so they're about hip distance, if not shorter, because we want them parallel or narrower. We want them parallel. So we're going to inhale and squeeze the blocks as we press up. And then exhale and bring them down. And with the breath, inhale, squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that block. Exhale, lower. Check in with your feet. Make sure you're still in a good position. Gives you a little bit more leverage when the feet are right under the knees like that. Exhaling down. Firing up those glutes. Strengthen the glutes. Protect the knees. That's how it works. Stronger the hips and the glutes, all around the glutes are, the better off your knees are. They don't take the beating. Okay, we're gonna come down now, and the next time we're gonna hold it up. Inhale it up, and then squeeze. Feel your inner thighs work. Feel all around the glutes work. Holding it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Woo! That's an interesting one. Go ahead and gather up your knees to your chest again and squeeze them in and rock like a baby. Feel that nice stretch you get across the glutes when you do that. Circling one way and then circling the other way. And then uncross the ankles, and we're just going to inhale and reach overhead and reach to the sky. Really flex your feet so you're pushing your heels in. And then exhale and snug in to a tight little ball. And then inhale up, flexing the feet. Exhale, holding them in tight. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Hopefully they're kind of relaxed. So now we're going to take that block again, one of your blocks again, and we're just going to lift up and place that under the sacrum. So it's that flat bony plate. If you feel your tailbone with your finger, then wherever your palm lands is where that sacrum is, and it'll just feel more comfortable when you put that down. So we're just going to drop the right leg and bring the left knee up. Now, if that's way too intense and this leg is floating up in the sky, then just remove the block and do it flat, and that might be enough stretch for you. If this feels good and you feel like, oh yeah, that's opening up that whole front area of the hip quite nicely. You can even, like, as you push down that leg, that kind of emphasizes that, and then drawing in with this knee gets right into where we're looking for, the stretch we are looking for. One more breath here. Hope you're breathing. Big belly breath. Squeeze and separate the two legs a little more. Good. And then come down. Kind of come back to center a little bit. Shake things out, in and out. And then we're going to straighten, let's see, we did that. Straighten the left leg and draw the right knee in. You can play around what you want to do with your foot, your left foot, but take a nice inhale breath. Really lengthen those two places apart. Again, I kind of like that feeling of just placing the hand on the leg there and emphasizing this pulling apart action. Couple breaths. Good, and release. And again, butterfly. Now, if you didn't feel any stretch, you can totally bump that block up to Mama Bear. I call this Mama Bear, the medium size. The short side is baby, Mama, and the tall side is Papa. So if you did that now, straighten that leg out, you would get that psoas is just really on stretch there. If you want to feel that or redo that whole section, you can pause and go through a few breaths like that. All right, go ahead and release that. See how things feel when you settle back down to the earth. And then either roll to the side or cross the ankles, and we're going to come up to all fours. All right, so starting in all fours, neutral spine, we're just going to go right into cat-cow. So inhaling, looking up, exhaling, curling the tailbone under, spreading the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl it under. Going back and forth, reaching, arching the back and rounding the back. Now, if you know you have osteoporosis in the spine, just you can do the extension safely, and then instead of rounding, you would just come to neutral. Okay? So, take care of that spine, bit happy. And then we're going to do, just emphasize that a little bit more. Feel a little bit, get a little range of motion more in our knees and hips. So we're going to send that back to child's. Kind of feel your weight settle in there. And then scoop your chest up along the floor, inhaling. So you're in cow pose, and then you're going to exhale, round the back and send it back to child's. And scoop it forward on the inhale. And exhale it back to child's. Sweep it forward. Tuck that tailbone, bring it back. And then one more time, just come up to center and stay. Now we're going to go ahead and check in with our, let's go ahead and roll, and then we'll do a check-in in between. So take your alphas, the big boys, or the pluses. If you really want some deep work, the smaller balls will dive in a little bit deeper. If they can be a little bit intense though. So I'll show you how I do my legs. So my right leg is going to be extended with the balls sitting crossways. Oh, that's the problem with black pants. Sitting across. And the other leg is going to be kind of holding me. And then I'm just going to roll. And I'll turn back so you can see that better. Now that you know which way the legs are going. And now we're just going to roll along the quadriceps. Again, we're addressing that knee tension. We're trying to get rid of it. So I love to turn my toe out, get more of the medial, the quads on the inside of the thigh. And then I love to turn the toes in and get the muscles and the work done on the outside of the thigh. You can go all the way over. We'll do that in a sec. IT band. Okay, breathe, breathe. And if you find like an interesting spot, just kind of hang out there. And just like letting your weight fall into it can kind of break up some either muscle spasms, adhesions, trigger point type things. But then if you want to contract, kind of like straighten your knee and really flex that quadricep and then relax. Whew, that one kind of dives right in there. You can shift it to another area, find an area that you're like, yep, that's tight right there. You can do the same thing, contract and relax. Another thing I love to do right above the knee, get those balls right above the knee and pin and stretch. This tends to be a tight spot for a lot of people. Right there above the knee. Doing whatever feels good with the ankle and foot. Okay, so with the IT band, what I was going to tell you is I'm just going to roll sideways with that hip down and take this leg and kickstand it. And then I am teasing right around my IT band. Okay, I'm going to do a little section there and then maybe bring myself down a little bit and get higher. Again, painful knees often result from tight IT bands too. Okay, so we're just going to get all that tension. And then another one that I love is when I get really up high on the IT band, I'm going to turn forward again and just work that tensor fascia lata. Right where you put your keys in your pocket. Just working that, rolling it slowly, trying to release the tension there. Kind of gets right in the cup of that front of that pelvic bone too. Lots of good stuff going on there. All right. Okay, so let's remove that and then come up to your knees. And I want you to just kind of feel how both legs feel. And then reach back. And you can have blocks back here too. Block to hold you up. Reach back and see if there's a difference between the two quads, if we're kind of on the right track. Breathe and relax. See if one has a little bit more give, a little bit more less resistance, I think. And then we're going to go to the other side. So putting it perpendicular to the grain of the muscle. This is called the stripping action. So cocking out this leg and then just slowly working. Feel, it's kind of like you're plowing snow. You can feel the flesh kind of being plowed ahead of the balls. Remember, when you go slow, that really helps hydrate the tissues. It floods, there's more fluids that flood in, creating more slide and glide between your muscle tissue, your fascia, between muscle groups. That's why this works. That's why you can feel kind of a melting effect. And why your flexibility changes and your comfort level changes. Okay, so again, make sure you turn your foot out and get more of the inside. And as you get started on this, it kind of feels like a lot of work at first, but then you kind of learn how to relax into it. So rolling is a great stress reliever, but sometimes when I see some people get started, they're so like they were working so hard. But you really can kind of relax into it and always take the pressure off if it's just too much. Okay, so when you find an area that's like, oh yeah, there's something build up, some tension build up there, then you can just tighten that quad. Straighten your knee really hard is another way to think about it. And then release. And feel the balls kind of dive in. And then if you want to explore another area, I'm going to turn my toe in on the outside and then tense that. And then relax. And then let's kind of zero in right above the knee there, that troublesome spot. So finding that area and then bending and straightening. You can circle the ankle, that should get in. That might prove to be interesting. You can even wag your foot, which I don't think we did. And then I'm going to turn my left hip down, cross that foot over and find the end of the IT band. IT band connects just below your knee. Okay, so sometimes that can be the muscles surrounding and underneath the IT band and feeding into the IT band get pretty tight. We want the IT band to be tight because it holds our hip and knee together, one of the things. And so we don't want that to be loose, but we want to tease the muscles kind of underneath and around it. That's why foam rollers have a hard time doing that. They just kind of pound right on the outside of that thick band of fascia. But we can tease around it with these round balls that have a little give to them. Can still be pretty intense. If it's too intense, you can always take this to the wall. And then I'm gonna get to the top of that IT band and roll my hips back towards the ground again and come right up high where I put my keys in my pocket and get that tensor fascia lata, TFL muscle that feeds into that IT band. And you can kind of work around, you can tell when you're on muscle versus on like too much bony area. Good, and breathe. And then we're gonna take the balls away and come into crocodile pose and just relax for a minute. Let the arms relax. A little bit of a shoulder workout. Let everything kind of chill. Notice how good it feels when you get the balls, move the balls. It's kind of like the work has been done and now you can feel it. So let's come back to our knees and walk back a little bit or reach back and then see how both thighs feel. See if they're close to the same. If one is still feeling very tight, then you know, or like tighter than the other, then you know that's where there needs to be a little extra time done, a little extra work done. Breathe and let yourself have a good, delicious stretch. Relax into that stretch. Nice. Nicely done. And then we're going to come forward, tuck our toes, and lift up into down dog. And spin those elbow pits forward, biceps forward, and really reach the hips away from the hands, away from the fingertips. Legs don't have to be straight. They can be straight as long as it doesn't. If I really straighten my legs and I end up rounding through the low back just to get my legs straight, that's not going to be as beneficial as a long straight spine in this down dog position. Nice breath there. We're going to sweep the right leg up and then plant it into a lunge, and you can grab it and bring it forward like that. Taking both blocks, kind of lifts your chest up a little bit, helps to straighten your back a little. And then now we're stretching our left hip flexors, quads. I'm a swayer. You can be still, you can sway, whichever you like. And then walk it back and feel that stretch. And come forward. Inhale. Back. Now I want you to really pay attention to your calf here. And notice how much tension is happening in your calf. Another key area to get supple and flexible in is the calves. Okay. Now we're going to come down, bring that back, and check out the other one. So coming forward and then shifting back. So we're going from stretching to massage to like warming up, massaging, stretching, strengthening. Just adding in all of these beneficial pieces and parts for knee health. And if this doesn't feel good in your knees, just throw a blanket underneath or across or knee pads and work and protect your knees. Sorry, blank out there. Okay, from here, we're just gonna sit down and take the plus balls. This can be done with any of the 3 balls. I think I'm giving a preference for the medium pluses, so I'm going to do that, but the little ones, I've used the little ones forever. Okay, so now, leaning on the hands, I'm going to work those calves a little bit. And it feels, everything always feels good to the skin, like if you can get more skin between, or the balls right on the skin more. But you can see why it's kind of helpful to have this block is because your heel can kind of drop. And I'm going to turn my foot in and turn my foot out. Maybe strip. This is the stripping motion. You can also find a spot and cross fiber, which is massaging across the grain. Okay, you can come a little bit higher. Get right in the back of that knee. Troublesome for a lot of people is that area right there. You can see how you can kind of work into it. Now, if this is just not doing it for you, you can stack the other leg on it, and it's substantially deeper. Okay, I'm gonna do just a little bit more here. And I love to do my Achilles. I've had some little issues on my Achilles, so that was good. I think I need a little weight there. Yeah. Good. Now, let's switch it over to the left and take the other one. Just doesn't take long. Relax the foot, flex the foot, point the foot. Especially if you find an interesting spot, you can pin it and then point and flex. Whatever feels best for you. And I'm just going to turn my foot in and out, try to get a little deeper in there. Move forward. See if I can get up in the belly of those calf muscles. Gastrocs. That feels pretty amazing. Okay, we're going to roll that, and if you need more weight, of course you can put more weight on it there. A little bit harder to get around. And then of course don't forget that area right up behind the knee pocket where you can put the 2 balls right there without worrying about all the nerves and the big blood vessels that run through there, because the valley of the balls kind of protects that. And then I'm going to get the Achilles before I'm done here. Right there with a little more weight. Sometimes I go too fast. I gotta slow down. Slow is good. All right, from there, scoot those over, and then let's feel that reverse lunge again. So pulling the toe back and noticing how, if it made a change in the calf. Coming forward, exhaling. One more time and then hold that. And you can have blocks under your hands here, keeping the back from rounding. All right, let's check out the other. Reaching those hips back, pointing the toe up, Bringing it forward to relax it, pulling it back. Again, remember, you can have a blanket under, a blanket under the knees is a great idea any old time. Really pull it back this time. Get a nice stretch. Supple calves. Anytime you can do like a calf, like a heel drop on a stair or a curb or a calf roll, it's great. Okay, we're going to land in all fours again. Again, you need to pad your knees. Extending the right leg, making sure it doesn't, like, if you're not bringing it, keep it, or winging the hip up, keep it level. And then extend the left hand, tighten through the core, and spinal balance. Super good, again, strengthener for the glute muscles and the core. You can curl those back toes under you. That feels a little more stable to me. Or you can point them. I get a cramp when I point them, so I'm going to keep them like this. Breathe. One more breath. And then come back to center. You can either center that all out by pulling your hips back to a child's pose, like sink all the way in, or lift up to a down dog. Either one kind of brings things back to center. Relaxes those muscles, stretches those muscles that you just worked. And then we'll come right back down, extend the left leg, lift, tighten the core, everything draws into the midline, extend the right arm. And breathe. Keep even out those hips, make sure you're not overzealous in lifting that hip up. We're just keeping them nice and flat. Breathing, reaching the arm ahead, but keeping that shoulder kind of plugged in, but reaching the fingers. And then toes are straight down, reaching them, reaching the foot to the wall behind us. 2 more breaths. And then exhale, bring it down. Again, you can, in fact, let's do a little circle here. A little circle, and then we'll reverse that circle, and then you can either go right into a down dog or a child's. If your arms need a break, maybe a child's would be better for you. If you want a little more strengthening with the arms, a down dog. Exhale. And then we'll all meet in down dog. That was a short child's. And then step it forward, finding your forward fold. Now, if the floor is too far away to be able to touch it, even with bent knees, then put a block under your hands. Just try not to dangle off this low back. Try to keep it flat and protected. Okay, all 10 toes are forward. We're going to come up to a halfway lift. Inhale and then exhale, lower. Let the head fall. Inhale, push through the heels. Feel the glutes working as you push up. Really high up, extend everything, a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale and let your seat go out behind you in chair pose. Knees are parallel. Toes are even. Feel as you shift back onto your heels. Feel the work that's kind of shifted to your glutes. And then as you shift forward, feel how much more work that is for your quads. creating too much tension in your quads. You need a little bit more work down in the glutes. They kind of get lazy. We're just breathing here. If you want to tuck that tailbone under a little bit, that might feel better on your back. Take another breath there. And then lift up. Ooh, and shake them out. Release the arms. And then try to land. Line up in your mountain pose. Line up the head, over the shoulders, over the hips, over the heels, ankles and heels. Nice breath. Okay, feel all that energy. Okay, we're gonna go into tree pose. So I'm gonna show you that, like, if you're next to a chair or a wall, just rocking over to that left leg, turning out, turning the right leg out. You can perch your toe here. You can go up a little higher. You can go anywhere on that leg as long as you're standing tall on this hip. We don't want the hip to go out to the side. We want to get that hip right under us, but keep a little micro bend in the knee. Okay, and then find your dristi, and you can do whatever you want with your hands. And open up that knee. Okay, again, here we're building the outside, especially the outside muscles of this standing leg. And we're strengthening these muscles that open up our leg too. Okay, we're taking just a couple more breaths there. Holding something if you need it. I probably will on the other side. And then releasing. Whew. Shake that leg out, that standing leg out. And a little bit of hula hoop. Around and around. And reverse it. Big breaths. And then we're going to come to our right side. Get that hip right under us. Keep a little micro bend in the knee, standing knee, and then turn this leg out. And then find anywhere that challenges your balance. So if you have a chair or something close by, rely on it just as little as possible. And then keep that leg solid. You're not going to kick the knee joint out of place by putting it on the knee. We're just going to breathe and try to relax into this pose without relaxing. Trying to find the softness in the pose, but keeping lots of muscles are working. Take 2 more breaths. Good job. And come down, shake that standing leg out. You just built your hips, built the strength in your hips. A nice goodness to your knees and hips and everything. Stronger hips also create healthier and happier backs too. Okay, there's another standing balance pose. And again, if you have something close by, we're going to shift to back to the first leg. Something close by to balance with. Find my balance. And if you can take a hold of that foot, great. If not, just pulling the foot up as far as you can is great too. Whatever you can do, and then holding. And you can either stay in this position upright or turn that into dancer pose by extending. A couple more breaths here. Hold that one more breath. And then bring it down. Shake that out. Balance poses. They're the best. They're hard for me, but I realize they're accomplishing so many things at the same time. So now I'm going to pick up my right foot, get nice and solid on my left. Maybe I want to leave it right here. I can hold something, a little micro bend, or you can draw it up closer to your behind, or turn it into dancer pose, reaching. Even though my balance is crazy hard, it's better than it has been for 3 years as I've worked through a foot injury and total reconstructive foot injury or foot surgery. So that's all happy news. Last breath, come down, shake it out, wiggle out the feet if you have any kind of feet cramps. And then we're going to take, this is an interesting stretch for the IT band area. Okay, so I'm going to put the block right there along the edge of my mat, just because I like it there. It doesn't need to be there. Stepping my right foot on it. And then I'm going to lower down. Okay, and I'm going to, the blocked foot is bent. The blocked leg is bent. I'm going to show it to you sideways, see if that's better. Blocked leg is bent. The other leg is straight. The Papa Bear block is helping me out here. Toes are even, like I'm on the starting line, okay? And then as I walk this block away from the other block, so I'm walking it to the left, I'm going to try to begin to stretch and lengthen that blocked leg, opening, straightening the knee, and really reaching away, breathing, and I lean to the right too. I lean towards that foot on the block. Relax my head. Now my leg isn't already all the way straight, which is fine. I could work it a little bit more. It'll take some time, but it's really giving me what I want. Really good stretch on that right hip. Foot kind of leaning the hips one way while I reach my hands the other way on that block. 2 more breaths. And then relax, bend both knees, come to center halfway, and then all the way up. Taking it easy, and then shake that out. Okay, I'm going to scoot my block over a little bit. Bring the arms up, give it a nice stretch up there, maybe a little clasped hands. And then place my left foot on the starting block and my right foot on the starting line. Okay, and then we're going to exhale into that forward fold. Okay, and then my block is under my left foot, so I'm going to walk this block to the right at the same time trying to straighten that blocked foot. Getting a little bit more knee straightening as I go, and I'm breathing to make that happen. Or to assist, not to force, not to make, but to assist in that. So I'm leaning left, leaning, pushing into that foot on the block a little bit more, leaning left, And then reaching right. Two sides are kind of pulling each other apart. Big breath. Such an amazing stretch for the IT band area and the hips. And then we release and walk it back to the middle. Step up. Let's do a halfway lift and really lengthen, kind of get centered. Exhale, a normal fold. Inhale, push through both feet all the way up. I felt that a lot in my upper hips and the low back, so we're going to release that tension with a little bit of hula hoop. Kind of around and around. Go back the other way. Nice breaths there. We have one more pretty interesting stretch, but you'll need a wall. So you can do a little windshield wiper too if that helps. Release that stress. It's just kind of floppy. Just kind of spin, flop. Okay, so I'm going to take my mat to the wall. And I can either flip the top of the mat up and scoot it all the way in, or I can put a blanket there. Okay, take a blanket, put it right up butting up to the wall. I'll need both my blocks, and then I'm going to come down to my knee, and I'm going to really scooch that right knee into the corner where the floor meets the wall. Okay, get kind of centered on the mat here. And I'm going to just see, oh, that's very stretchy. Can you see that? So this leg here is getting a stretch. But maybe it's not stretching at all. And so you can bring your blocks up a little higher and see if that helps. Kind of drawing your lower ribs to the wall. If that's not giving you a stretch, then you just take this left leg and lunge it. Easier said than done sometimes. And then moving yourself ever closer to the wall if that works in your body. Okay, sometimes this works for me. Doesn't feel great today. But what I'm going to do, instead of compensating by arching my back, I'm going to draw my lower ribs to the wall. That does two things. It protects my back, and it gives me an even deeper quad stretch. Okay, and you can also adjust where your foot is. Breathing into that. This is called the couch stretch. We're going to stay here for a few more breaths. This is fabulous for quad tension. Fabulous. So we want those quads nice and long and supple, because they tend to, when they're really tight, they tend to force the kneecap, the patella, into the grooves of the femur and cause inflammation right along your knee. So loosen up those quads, and it helps just create looseness all over. So between the rolling and the stretching, I should loosen things up. The strengthening is awesome too, because when you contract a muscle, it's more willing to relax afterwards. One more breath, big one. And then when you come out of it, just let that leg sweep down to the left if it's your right, and walk away for a minute. Maybe you can sit down, see how those legs are feeling. for a moment. Bring it all back to center. Take a nice inhale and a nice exhale. And then we're going to work our left one. So find that, get that knee really close to the wall, right in the corner. And start with this knee down, or the foot kind of relaxed, and kind of slowly start migrating a little bit deeper into that stretch. My foot is supposed to be going up the wall. It's going to cockeyed a little bit. Right behind you. Again, take it slow, take it easy, because if you're just fighting against tense muscles, you're not going to change the length and the suppleness of those muscles. You're just going to fight. Wrestling match. So if you need more stretch, you can take that other leg forward, walking yourself closer to the wall, giving it time to adapt. You don't want to just force into a stretch like this. We did a whole 45 minutes of working with the quadricep muscles and other surrounding muscles before, and then we're still moving slowly into this. So again, as you get closer to the wall, think about drawing your lower ribs closer rather than reaching back to get closer. Lower ribs go closer. That creates more lengthening in the quads. And relax into that. Try to relax your shoulders. Breathe deeply. Allow your nervous system to adapt and to believe that you're not going to do any damage. You're just simply stretching gently, slowly, methodically, carefully. One more breath. And gently use those blocks to help you come out. Sweep that, drop that foot to the right, if it was your left. And again, let's see how that feels. Kind of checking in. Close your eyes. Notice how that feels to kneel. Take some deep breaths there. Good deal. Now, since we're lucky to have our mat against the wall, we're going to go legs up the wall, because after that stretch, it feels lovely to release that tension. So again, I want to get so close to the wall. So I'm going to slide my fanny side hip right up against the wall. And so you'll see I left my blanket here, but it is totally up to you. If that feels good or not, you can pull it out, or if you folded your mat. And then I'm just going to awkwardly spin around and find myself in legs up the wall. And I can totally relax because the wall is holding my feet up. The blood, you can just almost feel gravity working with the blood supply down. Not like our blood vessels need this, but they sure feel good. It sure feels lovely. Now I have my blanket here under my hips and it feels really good. Many times I do it without the blanket, but if it feels good and you want to keep it there, or your doubled up mat, that's great. But now your job is just to let go and feel gravity just pressing you down into the floor while your legs are suspended, supported against the wall. Taking some nice deep breaths. If you have any tension, to release. Otherwise, just kind of find a natural, what we call native breath. You're going to hang out here and just breathe. Now, as we start to bring life back in, wiggle your fingers and your toes. And one thing I love to do, also against the wall, is open my legs apart with the soles of the feet together. And before I come away from the wall, just kind of give that a little stretch. And then when you're ready, just roll on to the side and bring yourself back to seated. And I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that your knees feel better. One thing we didn't even mention is always try to line up those knees over your second and third toes. Such an important thing to remember when you're standing, squatting, going to the bathroom, walking, lifting, just really going up and down stairs. If they're really duck-footed, try to reach them back in. Pigeon-toed, try to engage the muscles to bring them out. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm so happy that we're doing this now, that we can combine massage, stretching, and strengthening into one to address important things. Thank you so much, and namaste.